Tom, too many agents are worried sick about increasing their fees due to a lack of property sales and the tenant fee ban coming up. How do they get over that fear? Talk to me.
I think if you're an estate agent, you've got to go in to a listing presentation with the view that another estate agent is going to charge zero. And then, I know that sounds weird, and I know it probably doesn't happen, but you need to go in with the premise that potentially someone's prepared to charge zero. And that your job is to be so good that they basically give you a standing ovation, and they say, they're not going to get up and say, fantastic, right? But on the inside,
get the bunting out.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. I don't think people in the UK do that. But I think they've got to.
Do they in Oz?
No, they don't do that either. Actually, I don't think they do it anywhere. But I think it's a metaphor that I'm using to explain that you've got to be so good that if you have decided that your fee is going to be 2.5%, not 1.5% or 1%, and that the client that you're presenting to actually feels like you're 5% better. So hypothetically speaking, let's assume that you're 5% better, but you're 1% dearer. That client's still 4% better off. So what you want to start doing is start demonstrating to a client you have a process, you have a strategy that is actually going to potentially give them 4% better off being value. So number one, I would say is pick you. If you're an estate agent, pick you before they pick you. Because if you don't pick you, they're not going to pick you.
A bit like love yourself. You can't expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself.
Correct.
What's the second?
The second thing is, if you haven't been prospecting and you haven't had people in your pipeline with lots of opportunities, and you go to a valuation and the client says, I want to go with you, Chris, but I'm only going to pay you 1%. And you're sitting there and you look at your Outlook calendar and you say, wow, I've got no listings, I've got nothing coming in, and I've got someone that wants to give me their business at 1%. You know what? You're desperate. Desperate people take that business. However, if you've been the hard-working estate agent that has been doing 2 hours of prospecting a day, and you have got a pipeline of opportunities, and what happens is the client says to you, I want you to do it at 1%, you're not desperate. And you know what you say? I'm not for you.
What are you going to teach us at Sanchfest to make this better, to make agents in the UK better, that they can be more hungry for the business, that they can turn away this cheap fee business and get the business they deserve?
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate them what a structured listing presentation looks like, how the pre-list is super imperative. The second thing I'm going to do is show estate agents how to list a property and tiptoe around the issue of price and leave the door open to realign value later. The next thing I'm going to teach an estate agent is how to sit in front of a client and actually show them that the cheapest agent and the best agent are generally not the same agent. And I'm going to demonstrate that.
I've seen that, and it's amazing what you do, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, I think if you've seen it, and that comes like, you're a harsh critic and you've got strong views on things, I can tell you that I think if a vendor sees it, they're going to look at the bottom figure and they're going to say, hey, I don't want the cheapest, I want the best.
Because it's interesting, I was online the other day and someone actually said, I was talking about overvaluing, and someone said, how can we force other agents not to overvalue? And I turned around, it isn't. You have to get off your backside and prove why they are overvaluing and why you're the best agent.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they're all lazy. Not all of them, most of them are.
Well, I think the person that said that to you is actually focused on the wrong person. You can't control what the other estate agent does with a vendor they're going to overprice. You can't control that. You can't control the other estate agent that's going to go in at half your fee. You can't control whether your next door neighbour decides to have sex in their backyard naked every night. That's their business. You can't control that. What you can control is what you do in your house. What you can control is how you deliver a presentation to that client and show the client, hey, listen, that's their net figure. That's my net figure. Here's my process. And at the end of the day, you get 100 vendors in a room and you say to them, what do you prefer? Paying 1% and getting a lower net in your pocket, or paying 2% and getting more in your pocket? All 100 will say, I want the most money in my pocket. So what I'm going to do is to show how you can have trust in a relationship in a short period of time, that you win a client over in the process. Because I'm telling you straight, it's the process and not the promise of a price that's going to get you top dollar. And that's what I'm going to cover.
Thank you, Tom.